Can you make it a little bit? Yeah, hold on. Let me minimize here. That's good. Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna start now. My name is Natu Sissoko for the Department of Early Education and Care Teacher Qualification Unit. I'm the one who's gonna be conducting this office hours to answer your question and also explain our new policy requirement. Before I do that, please let me welcome everybody who's present today for this office hour. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to come and ask a question and give feedback. Today, we're going to talk about the key objective for the office hours. Really, the key objective for the office hours is to support educator and program director in understanding and applying the minimum hiring requirement for educator policy and the current prospective hiring, which means that starting after December 6th, you will apply the new hiring requirement to put teachers in your classroom. Collect frequent asked questions. So any question that you send to us today or ask during the panel, we will answer it and lead you to the minimum hiring requirement. Identify opportunity for future clarification and explanation in the minimum hiring requirement for educator policy to support educator and program in fully understand and implement the new policy as of now. Next. Key policy, educator policy, key update. Let me iterate. BRC and EEC essential training remain the same. You still have to do that. But EEC will no longer issue certification after July 6, 2021. We stop issuing certification for you to make that decision to hire your teachers or supervise or directors in your own program. Let me iterate again what's going on. We're no longer going to certify, but anybody who applied before December 6, 2021, we will honor those applications. We will certify those applications and send the certificate. If one of those applications is incomplete, we will send an incomplete letter, unless the program director decide to retract the application and use the minimum hiring requirement. In that case, that will be fine. That's what we want you to do. We want you to use the minimum requirement policy to hire your teachers. Broaden the way that program can determine requirements are met for new hire, including accepting the DESE license provisional, acceptance of unofficial transcript. Usually you can use that. If you see in the past, we request only for original transcript, but if an unofficial transcript is there, you can accept that due to college backlog. Less restrictive, more responsive way. Really, this policy was done because you spoke and we listened. You let us know that the current teacher qualification process was no longer working because of the time, the backlog that we have. That's why we come with this policy to make it easy for provider to make a decision to hire staff and recruit staff easier. So we're going to talk about the work experience. If you see in the past, the work experience was limited to certain requirements, But with the new policy, while work experience with children of all age might be counted prior, should be given with program director discretion to assigning educator to the age group that best match their specific work experience. Work experience might be completed in variety of setting and role. Please refer to page 24 and 25. By example, is there many work experience setting that we will accept. A permanent substitute position in a child care center count as experience. Occasional substitute teaching does not count. If somebody is continually substituting, you can count that experience. But if they come this month and next month, they will not show in 3 months, those are not counted. Supervised work experience. Work experience in providing direct care and teaching to a group of children on a regular basis in an active license program, child care center, or family child care home, out of school program or equivalent. Anything that equivalent to those program affiliated with or approved by the department with regular staff supervision and evaluation by an educator qualified as a lead teacher, director, site coordinator, or qualified program administrator will be accepted. We define minimum work experience as 12 hours per week in a period of at least 4 weeks in a program, count for 1 month of work experience. When additional flexibility is needed and the program director discretion, the following substitution might be applied. Work experience of less than 12 hours per week might be counted as every 50 hours of consistent cumulative work at one program is equivalent to 1 month of work experience. Unsupervised work experience. Let's talk about that. At a program discretion, unsupervised work experience might contour supervised work experience for teacher candidate only and in accordance with the following calculation. 75 hours of unsupervised work experience shall be counted as 50 hours or 1 month of work experience. Next. So today we're gonna discuss the minimum hiring requirement for lead teacher. The minimum requirement for hiring lead teacher. Let's go first to the first slide. Prior to hiring to be a lead teacher, BRC must be met. The applicant must be 21-year-old or have high school diploma, 36 months of work experience or 1 practicum. This can be reduced to 27 months if you have a CDA, 18 months if you have an associate or a bachelor degree in unrelated field, and 9 months if you have a degree in related field or early childhood education. 12 credit in at least 4 categories of study except childcare administration. This means that if you have 4 courses, none of those 4 courses must be an administration course. It has to be other category of study except the daycare administration. 3 credit in child growth and development from those 12 credit, and 3 credit in infant and toddler care. You must complete all staff orientation and within 2 months, complete all EEC essential. Next. Prior to working as a lead teacher, BRC must be met. At least you must be 21-year-old, 9 months of supervised work experience or 1 practicum, associate degree in higher education in early childhood education, child development, or elementary education with a kindergarten or pre-K special need specialization or related field of study. Let me clarify here. We say associate if somebody have a degree, an associate degree or a bachelor degree in early childhood education or child development or elementary education, pre-K, and a special need specialization as related field of study, they will be eligible. Complete all staff orientation within 2 months, complete EEC essential. Within 6 months, complete your first aid certification, plus complete a minimum 3 credit or equivalent in CEU or PDF. Next, please. Prior to working as a lead teacher, BRC must be met. At least 21-year-old with 18 months of supervised work experience. Complete one of the following: the Child Development Associate CDA credential. Let me explain there. A Child Development Associate is a certificate that is received through the national credentialing. And if somebody has that, they're eligible. Community college certificate in early childhood education is one of them. Child development or elementary education. Complete all staff orientation. Within 2 months, complete EEC essential. Within 6 months, you will complete the first aid certification, completion of a minimum of 3 credit or equivalent CEU or PDF. Next, please. Prior to working as a lead teacher, BRC must be met again. You must be 21-year-old, having 24 months of supervised work experience, associate degree or higher education in unrelated field, 12 credit in the category of study, complete staff orientation, complete EEC essential within 2 months, and within 6 months, complete first aid, enroll to complete a minimum 3 credit or equivalent CEU or PDF. This is one of the categories. We go next. Prior to working as a lead teacher, same thing will follow. Meet BRC requirement. At least 21-year-old, 36 months of work experience as an EEC qualified family child care license or certified assistant in large family child care. Child care program capacity must be 10 children. Or as an EEC qualified site coordinator in an out of school time program, 12 credit or equivalent in the category of study, including at least 3 credit in category 1, which is child growth and development. Complete staff orientation. Within 2 months, complete a minimum of 15 hours of professional development, category of study 8, which is health and safety in early childhood education. Within 6 months, enroll to complete a minimum of 3 credit or equivalent CEU or PDF. Next, please. Minimum hiring requirement for lead teacher. Additional option for program hiring for lead teacher was added. Candidate for lead teacher position shall be considered automatically qualified for what they meet, if they meet one of the following set of qualifications with no additional work experience required. That means if a candidate meet this requirement they will not need work experience to be hired. Those are: number 1, you have to be BCR, always BCR, meet BCR requirement, and hold a current Department of Elementary and Secondary Education educator licensure in early childhood education, which is pre-K to 3. Also, if it's pre-K to 2, or teacher of student with moderate disability pre-K to 8 for preschool lead teacher only. This requirement is for preschool lead requirement. Second, meet BRC and hold a bachelor degree or higher in early childhood education, child development or elementary education with a kindergarten or pre-K special need specialization for preschool lead teacher only. Number 3, BRC met and hold a current DPH early intervention certificate. This one is for lead teacher infant toddler only. Number 4, suitable for BRC and hold one of the following Montessori certificate as appropriate to the age of the children that the applicant will serve. Infant toddler, birth to age 3, preschool, age 2.5 through 6, and elementary 6 to 9 for those who do after school program. Next, please. So we're gonna go to question and answers. And
we actually only have one question in the chat. And it says, the work experience used to be a split infant, toddler, and preschool. It is now split now. Is it a split now? Anyone with all preschool experience can be qualified in all age groups?
yes, if they work for both age group, you will, qualify them for both age group. They can work in either room, or if you have a mixed classroom, they can do that. But if they work only for preschool, you qualify them for that age group. If they work for infant toddler only, you qualify them for that age group.
We have another question in the chat. It said, what do we need in an employee file to prove they are LEED eligible? How will they receive proof that they are LEED certified if they choose to leave our program?
They let me go back a little bit about the LEED requirement. After you find somebody qualified with the minimum requirement, you must, keep documentation on your file for that applicant. And that applicant, if they're moving to another program, if they have a copy of what they have, they can present that to that program. But usually, all new hire documentation must be kept in a file. And when your licensor is visiting, they might be able to access it, but that document, they might be able to access it and review it.
Okay, we have another question. Will we have access to a copy of this slideshow after the presentation?
I was just going to say, I can answer the yes. The slideshow and recordings of the webinar can be found on the EEC engagement portal.
Okay. Thank you, Ola.
Yeah.
Next question.
I think we have one more. How do future teachers show unified proof they are qualified to teach in early childhood programs? Who issue a license?
Again, and we repeat that, EEC is no longer issuing a certificate unless those who send application before December 6, 2021. We're no longer going to certify teachers. That's why the minimum hiring requirement is done by the program director. And how you know somebody's eligible is go through the requirement and see which one of those requirements fit that applicant. Look at the college transcript, where the work experience is coming. If they have the minimum requirement, you can hire them. But we no longer will issue certificate unless somebody already certified with us in the past and they need a copy. In that case, we will send that copy to them. What? Go ahead.
Okay, I think you already answered this question. So no license will be issued to teachers to show proof of qualification. I think that's part of it. The next question is, if they are required to complete 3 credits or equivalent in CEUs, who is providing this 3 credit course? And generally, people in this field cannot afford a college class out of pocket.
Okay, let me explain. We have, fund scholarship that people can apply, which we call the pathway. They can look into that. We have several universities that offer courses on that. And if they're eligible, they will, get money to take that class. But EEC, I encourage that they should take that course or training or PDF development because of it's a requirement for the minimum hiring.
Okay. Can you clarify the infant toddler qualification for someone with a bachelor's in early childhood education? It's just a matter of work experience with that age group?
Yeah, if the age group, they must meet the requirement. If you look at, we say the lead teacher, if they have DPH certificate, or they must have the infant toddler course plus the work experience, the minimum requirement for the work experience.
Okay, should we fill out the work experience paperwork for the employee's file to prove they have the hours?
Yes, we created a form and application that you need to fill out. It's up to you if you want to use that one or create your own one, but we encourage you to use that one, and that will plus the documentation needed to show that the person that you're hiring meet the minimum requirement for that hire, and also keep those documents on that teacher's file for future licensor to review.
Okay, what is needed to be a regular teacher who can be alone with a class of children, not a lead teacher, or is that the same right now?
Usually for the teacher level, you have to follow the requirements set to meet the teacher level. But they must be age appropriate, 21 or has a high school diploma, the child growth and development, and the work experience required on one of those teacher qualification minimum hiring requirement.
So if no license is issued, isn't it that taking away credibility?
I don't think so. This is only for until we come up with our credentialing. The field spoke that they were having problem hiring new people. That's why we come with this requirement policy so that you can do a quick hire. But doing the quick hire, you have to use your own judgment, and your sound judgment will be to look at what the applicant have, review one of our requirements. If they met one of those requirements, you can hire them.
Okay, we have another question. Without a certificate, a prospective employee brings their file from the previous center. At the center, they were considered qualified. I review it against the requirement and deem they are not qualified because they were missing a piece of the minimum requirements. What happened at that point?
That's a very important question. We will take it in discussion, but my opinion is that if that person didn't meet the minimum requirement, and you know that this applicant is not suitable for your program, you can make that decision to accept to hire them or not. But we were going to bring this question and discuss it among us, and we will give you a feedback.
Okay, another question just came. So all of these options are not permanent. If so, the beginning of the document should state this.
This is not permanent because after we're gonna go right away to work to create our credentialing by the end of next year. So, but for now, with the minimum hiring, you have to follow those key steps. Your applicant must meet one of them for you to hire them. That's the minimum hiring. And all those information must be kept. But the applicant have to continue, the educational to meet the requirement in the future if they want to go to highest level. of qualifier.
I don't see any other questions in the chat.
Okay, can we go to the question they submitted?
Sure. Okay, can a director withdraw an application which is already in process and make that determination independently based on the new qualifications?
The TQ unit will continue to process applications that were submitted prior to December 6th. Why I repeat myself again. We will review all those applications that we receive before December 6th. If it's incomplete, that was went before then, we will honor that incomplete letter. Hiring and upgrade after that point in time should be conducted following the new policy.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the question in the chat. It said, where do we find the form to verify minimum requirement that you recommended us to use?
It's online. The minimum, the application form is online on mass.gov.
All right, so I'm gonna have another questions and answers. Is this only for new staff? What about the current employee, an EC certified teacher who is now qualified for lead teacher? Is that decision made by the director too?
All hiring decision should be informed by the new minimum requirement policy and implemented by the program director, including for filing and position with existing staff. So anybody who's a new hire or going to upgrade must be done by the program director using the minimum hiring requirement for them to meet that hire.
Okay. To become teacher certified, you need Child Growth and Development Plus within 6 months of hire an additional class?
Yes, the qualification for teacher level in the Child Growth and Development course. Within 6 months of hire or upgrade, an additional EEC course is required. The course can be fulfilled through CEU or PDD diploma. Yeah.
There's another question in the chat. I think that is putting the center that is hiring in a really bad situation. The previous center is telling them they are qualified, and I am telling them they are not and choose not to hire them. Now that person has no idea if they are actually qualified.
Really, the minimum requirement is broadened. It's not only one requirement. You have to follow each, look at each of them and see maybe they might fall into one. But if they're not qualified, it's the program director discretion to hire or not to hire again that applicant. But if you have problem, reach out to us and we will, look at it and see what we can do and help you meet that requirement.
Okay, another question from the questions and answers. This will not affect anyone who already is certified by EEC with only a Child Growth and Development, correct? They will remain certified with only the one class.
Anybody who already certified by EEC meet our requirement. Those people can be hired right away because they already review and they have their certificate. Those who already possess an EEC certification at any level is still considered certified at that level. So you don't have to look at anything for them. They certify, they lead, they lead. They teach us, they teach us. They director, they are director. You can hire them right away using that certificate.
Okay, prior to this new qualification, an individual will be able to work 480 hours, take a Child Growth and Development course, and complete all the requirements such as AED, CPR, EC Essentials, etc. If an individual has completed those requirements effective 10/20/2021, do they have to get continuing education and courses to keep the teacher's credentials?
Once an educator meet the teacher level qualification within 6 months, they must complete the 3 additional credit or equivalent CEU or PDD. PDP. This is a requirement. That's why they're meeting the minimum requirement. That's why we request that they have to. It's not if, but they must.
Okay. I do not see the care courses which was previously accepted in substitute for child development 3 credit course. Will that course still be accepted as a substitute for 3 credit course?
The policy do not list a specific course, however, does list acceptable training institute where we accept CEU is allowing the child growth and development care courses to be accepted. The care course is an acceptable ISET training institute. See page 24 of that policy. So we still, honor the care courses. The care training will continue to be accepted.
With the new regulations, what happened with teachers' assistants that were given the okay to take the care course to be accredited? And if we can't send the paperwork, in how will they get this certified?
The policy eliminated the teacher qualification verification process for new candidates. BRC program are seeking to recruit, which currently is experiencing a 30+ day backlog due to the technology and paper-driven process. The policy provides increased flexibility for center-based program to confirm qualification at the site level and recruit candidates more quickly by allowing some coursework to be done after hire.
Okay. What is the minimum age requirement for teacher certification qualification age from 18 to 21?
EEC has updated the teacher level qualification requirement to reflect at least 21-year-old or have a high school diploma or equivalent.
Okay. Do these requirements impact the certification for the fiscal year 2022 school year, Chapter 74 approved programs? Can you provide information on the future for these high school programs?
Chapter 74 application will still be reviewed, processed, and certified by the TQ unit after the minimum hiring requirement for educator policy is released. Chapter 74 application support high school program that meet the definition of vocational technical education and are approved by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Pursuant to Chapter 74 and the Vocational Technical Education Regulation, graduated from Chapter 74, approved vocational technical high school program must complete 2 years of child development course and a total of 150 hours of classroom experience within an infant toddler or preschool or both EEC license program. The TQ will continue to accept those Chapter 74 application from student pursuing EEC certification after the minimum hiring requirement for educator policy is launched. So let me explain here. If your student graduated and meet that requirement, you can do the minimum hiring and send the information for us to review. That information must include the application page, the letter of recommendation, a copy of their high school diploma, and high school diploma, yes, and transcript showing that they did the 2-year child development that is required.
Okay, next question. Could you provide more clarity on how infant toddler versus preschool qualifications are determined?
When an assistant, go ahead again.
Okay. Could you provide more clarity on how infant toddler versus preschool qualifications are determined?
It's the program director discretion to assign educator to age group that best match their specific work experience. We left that to the program director. If they work for infant toddler, my understanding is that you qualify them in that level. If they work for preschool, you will qualify them for that level. And if they work for both, qualify them for both, they might be wherever they need it, they could be hired in that level.
Okay, when an assistant teacher is responsible for supervising a child for no longer than 5 minutes, they must meet or exceed the minimum experience requirement for a qualified teacher, in parentheses, a minimum of 6 months. Does this mean that that assistant who doesn't have child growth or equivalent, but who is been working for no longer than 6 months can supervise children for no longer than 5 minutes?
The teacher will need to meet all the teacher minimum hiring requirement to supervise children for no longer than 5 minutes. I mean the teacher.
Does an individual who meets all the requirements for assistant teacher need to be paid to be counted in the rating? For example, can a program train volunteers with everything needed for assistant teacher and then be counted in the ratio?
As long as the assistant teacher meet all minimum hiring requirement, they can serve as an assistant teacher and be counted in the ratio.
Do new teachers have to finish 2 classes within 6 months or enroll within 6 months?
The additional coursework can be credit bearing, including CEU or PDP, and must be completed within the 6 months of hire. They have to do that. It's a must, not if when. It's a must. They must meet that requirement.
Okay. There are a lot of questions about what will happen in 6 months when teachers haven't completed the required second course or equivalent. Will program have to terminate these teachers because they technically no longer meet the requirement for teacher, or won't be able to count them in ratio? What happens if they, in the time frame for taking completing class in a community college can happen within the 6 months?
Programs are encouraged to use EEC Individualized Professional Development Plan, PDP, or other customized tool to support educators in building interim goal and strategy to achieve professional advancement. So, since we make it easy, you have to encourage those to meet those requirements by helping them find individualized professional development plan, etc. So if that continue to be a problem, please reach out to the unit and we will discuss it and find a solution. Really, our goal is to make it easy, to be flexible so that you can meet your hiring requirement. But also is your goal those teachers to meet the requirement.
Okay, what degrees are considered a related field of study?
Okay, degree that is many of them. I will give you some example. Elementary education is related field, special education, child development, child-related degree, family-related degree, human development, human service, nursing, neonatal study for educator, working with infant, psychology, sociology, and social work. Those are examples that might be others, but if you have problem with that, please reach out to the unit. We will help you out.
There is another question from the chat. If an employee takes a college course within the 6 months but fails the class, do they have to be put back into the assistant role?
That's a good question, but it's the goal also of the provider to help that applicant or that teachers, that staff to meet that requirement. So if the course didn't work, you might, refer them to CEU training or PDT training to meet that requirement. Usually we don't want to pull people in the minimum requirement that they are, but it's also the goal of the director to help them meet that goal. And if they don't meet that goal, what I say again, reach out to the unit and let us discuss it and find a solution.
Okay, as a professor at a community college, should we complete the work practicum certification form, and who will declare that the practicum student is a teacher certified?
Yes, the EEC work experience form can be used to verify the practicum. Also, letter outlining detail of the work experience with signature and contact information of supervisor or college professor or will be accepted.
Okay. Is there a master list telling us which courses are approved for each category? There used to be a list for each Massachusetts college, but the page is no longer available online.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that, but you can use the category of study. We'll tell you each course what category they are. And if you don't recognize it, or you can reach out to the unit for help. You can email us through the professional development email and list the courses and the college that those courses was taken, and we will let you know the result.
What does a bachelor degree in a related field get you? In an unrelated field?
Educator with unrelated or related?
Unrelated.
Unrelated. Educator with an unrelated degree must meet the course and education requirement detailed in the minimum hiring requirement document. For lead teacher, the following must be obtained. BRC requirement, at least 21-year-old, have a high school diploma or equivalent, 18 months of supervised work experience with an associate or a bachelor in unrelated field, 12 credit at least for 4 categories of study except childcare administration. Those 12 credit or 4 courses can be anything except daycare administration, including 3 credit in child growth and development and 3 credit in infant and toddler care. Complete all staff orientation.
Okay, as teachers move from one program to another, they will now have to reprove their credential each time, since they no longer will have a certificate proving their qualification, correct? Is there a way for them to use the EEC registry to prove their qualifications?
Educators must ensure that they have the original documentation that qualify them. A copy is left at the program. At this time, the registry is not be used to prove their qualification. The new educator registry is in development. So this means that they should keep copy, and when they move to another program, they can take that with them.
We have one more question. After reading more into these requirements, I noticed more schooling, etc. Now I have taken all my courses, etc. for director. I'm opening my own center in February, hopefully. Does this mean I need my bachelor's now?
EEC has updated the director level qualification requirement for those without a degree to reflect BRC requirement, at least 21-year-old of age, 42 months of work experience, complete of EEC essential, 16 credit or equivalent in the category of study, including a minimum of 2 credit or 3 CEUs in category of study 13, which is the daycare administration, and complete all staff orientation.
We don't have any more questions in the questions and answers.
Can you look at the chat?
No questions in the chat.
Okay, let's go to the next slides. Ola.
Okay, let me pull them up.
Also, Natu, you don't have a lot of time, so just FYI, you have less than 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the last slide so we can spend those. Okay, for technical assistant, question about minimum hiring requirement, you can send email to the professional development email address for questioning. Copy of your teacher certification. Please send an email to EEC professional development@mass.gov. please make sure that you put in the subject line copy of certification and include your name, first name, last name, date of birth, PQR number, and at least the last four digits of your social security number. Application status. Send email to the same EEC professional development email. Please put in subject line application status, include full name, date of birth, your PQR number, and the last four digits of your social security number. Indicate whatever your application was mail or email. If it was email, please provide that email address for us to review it. Reset PQR login or password or merge duplicate profile. Submit request to EEC help desk issuing for that request. Next. Educator and staff hiring requirements and resource at mass.gov. Minimum hiring requirement translation is available. Protocol, educator qualification packet, staff report checklist, all the resources are listed there. So the minimum hiring is in different language also. Next, please.
And that's the end of the slides.
Okay. Let me say this, thank you for coming. We really appreciate your time. And this policy standard is really to help you, to help the provider, make a quick hire. If you have questions regarding those standards, please reach out to the TQ unit. And I want to also reiterate that the TQ unit will no longer issue certificate. So we will not also accept application. But those applications that we already have will be reviewed and honored. If you have any question, we are here to help you. Email us with your question and be detailed in your questioning, and we will answer right away. Thank you for coming and have a safe afternoon. Thank you.